Welcome to my class. In this particular session, we will talk about file approach versus database approach. Two approaches to manage data. There are mainly two approaches to manage the data. The first one is file approach and the second one is database approach. The file approach is also termed as file-oriented approach or traditional approach or traditional file-oriented approach. Database approach is also termed as database-oriented approach, modern approach, or modern database-oriented approach. Basically, these are the two approaches. We can term it as file approach and database approach. In this particular lecture, we will talk about only these two terms, file approach and database approach. These two approaches have been discussed in brief. File approach. Introduction. When data relating to an organization is stored and processed on multiple files with the help of number of programs, it is termed as traditional file-oriented approach or simply file approach to manage data. So when we have number of files and number of programs to manage data, then this is file-oriented approach. Each file is a collection of records on particular subject. Different departments in the organization use different programs to store data of their interest. In simple words, each user department uses a different program to handle data in their independent files. Let us take a case of College of Delhi University and see how different departments in the college store students' data in different files. Let us assume that in relation to student, the college store and process data regarding first, students' admission and attendance, which is managed by General Administration Department as admission file and attendance file. So General Administration Department maintains two files. One is admission file and the second is attendance file. The second is students' fee, which is managed by Finance Department as fee file. So the Finance Department manages fee file. The third one is students' internal assessment marks, which is managed by Examination Department as internal assessment marks file. So we have three departments: General Administration Department, which manages two files, one Finance Department, which manages fee file, and the Examination Department, which manages internal assessment marks file. For the sake of simplicity, we restrict our analysis to only three departments. Again, for the sake of simplicity, we are restricting our analysis to only few attributes of the student entity. The following tables are general representation of files and not the actual files. Let us take up the case of General Administration Department, which maintains admission and attendance files. In the admission file, there are a number of fields. The first one is enrollment number, then name, date of birth, address, phone, date of admission, course. These are the fields in the admission file. In the attendance file, there are certain fields. The first one is enrollment number, name, address, phone, semester, course. These are the attendance in subjects: subject 1, subject 2, subject 3, and total attendance. These are some of the fields in the attendance file. Fee file. The finance department maintains fee file such as, in the fee file we have number of fields. One is enrollment number, name, address, phone, semester, course, date of payment, amount due, amount paid. These are some of the fields in the fee file. The next is internal assessment marks file. The examination department maintains internal assessment marks file. In this file, we have these fields: enrollment number, name, address, phone, semester, course, marks obtained in subject, subject 1, subject 2, subject 3, and total marks. Note: student note that 3 departments are maintaining 4 different files. Attendance and admission file is being maintained by General Administration Department. Fee file is managed by Finance Department, and internal assessment marks is maintained by Examination Department. In order to manage 4 files, there are 4 separate programs controlled by each separate department. Now let us look at the problem of this traditional file-oriented approach. Limitations of traditional file approach. The first limitation is data redundancy. Redundancy means duplication of data. Data redundancy means duplication of data. It can easily be observed that information regarding name, address, phone, semester, course is repeated in different files again and again because separate programs are handled by separate departments. Therefore, there is duplication of same information at separate places. Data integrity. Since multiple copies of same data are maintained by multiple programs, there is good likelihood that same data may mismatch. For example, if a student comes to General Administration Department and makes a request to change the address, then changes have to be made in all files of different departments. Any updation regarding address not performed in any of the file may lead to lack of data integrity. So if we have made changes in 3 files but we have not made changes of address in the 4th file, then we shall be having 2 different addresses of the same student, and this leads to lack of data integrity. The third one is program data dependency. Program data dependency means that programs are tied to the files and vice versa. Files are tied to programs and programs are tied to files. Changes in the physical format of file, such as addition of a data field, require changes in the program that is related to the file. Suppose we add another field in the file. In that case, we need to make changes in the program as well. The file structure is defined in the program code and the data used for that file is dependent on it. Program data dependency. For example, the General Administrative Department stores enrollment number in 3 bytes and Finance Department stores the same in 4 bytes. Usually different programs supporting different files are written in different languages that may make these files format incompatible, and one program file may not easily access other files. Fourth point is limited data sharing. Since there is no centralized control over the different data files, therefore either there is no sharing or very limited sharing of data held by different departments. Lack of flexibility. The fifth point is lack of flexibility. A traditional file system can deliver only routine scheduled reports, but it cannot deliver ad hoc report. Ad hoc report means for the very special purpose. A traditional file system can deliver only routine scheduled reports, but it cannot deliver ad hoc reports or respond to unanticipated information requirements. Therefore, one has to make changes in the program to meet any ad hoc request. Suppose we want to know the attendance record of the student who has not paid the fees, then there is no way to know this because it requires the integration of two files, that is attendance file and fee file. Sixth limitation is excessive program maintenance. Every department has to maintain their programs as and when some changes are required. So traditional file-oriented approach requires that we need to have excessive program maintenance. It increases the cost of the organization. Let us summarize the limitations of traditional file approach. The first one was data redundancy. Second, data integrity. The third one, program data dependency. Fourth one, limited data sharing. Fifth one, lack of flexibility. And the sixth one, excessive program maintenance. Now let's move on to the second approach, that is modern database oriented approach. The modern database oriented approach makes use of database management system, DBMS. DBMS is a software and modern database approach makes use of this particular software. DBMS, it is a software that enables users to define, to create, to modify, to manage and provide controlled access of the whole database. The modern approach is important because it provides a number of advantages or benefits, such as the importance of modern database oriented approach. The first one, integrated data. In the database approach, different files are unified in such a way that helps in eliminating data redundancy. Reduce inconsistencies. In traditional file approach, when a particular field appears in a number of tables, then updation has to be performed in all the tables. If updation is left out in some of the tables, then it shall increase inconsistencies. Since data redundancy is reduced in the database approach, it results into reduced inconsistencies as well in the database approach. Third point, data sharing. Data sharing between the application is possible in the database approach. Different applications are allowed to make use of repository of data in the database. In simple words, the examination department can fetch information of general administration department or vice versa. Fourth point is enforcing standards. User can specify the standards for the database. It is easy to enforce constraints in the database. Certain standards like data naming, data size, data format, and various constraints are easy to enforce in the database approach. Data security. The data in the database is quite secure with the help of passwords and codes. The write like, read write, write write, modify write, and no write to the database can be assigned to different users as per requirements. So here we can assign different rights to different users as per our requirement. The sixth point is data integrity. The term data integrity refers to ensuring that data in the database is accurate. Since data in the database is centralized and used by a number of users simultaneously, the data integrity is vital. A number of checks can be imposed, like the age of the student cannot be less than 18 years, etc. It means there are less chances of inputting wrong data in the database. We can impose number of constraints which will make this particular data integrity possible. Just now we talked about why the database oriented approach is important one. Let us summarize all those points which we have discussed right now. The first one is integrated data. The second, reduce inconsistency. The third, data sharing. The fourth, enforcing standards. The fifth, data security. And the last one was data integrity. Because of these points, modern database oriented approach is considered to be more powerful. Comparison of traditional file oriented approach and modern database oriented approach. On the basis of data redundancy, separate files maintained by different departments lead to duplication of data. Whereas in the case of modern database oriented approach, separate files are not maintained by different departments, therefore it does not lead to duplication of data. Data integrity. In file system, the data integrity is low because of data redundancy. As database is centrally managed, the problem of data redundancy is low, thereby it ensures high data integrity. The third one is on the basis of program data dependency. In traditional file system, data definition is part of application program. Therefore, data and program are dependent on each other. In modern database oriented approach, the DBMS allows the data definition not to be part of application program. Therefore, data and program are not dependent on each other. The fourth difference is of data sharing. Since data is stored in separate files in different departments of the organization, the sharing of data becomes difficult for the organization in the case of traditional file-oriented approach. DBMS stores data centrally in integrated tables created by different departments, users. Therefore, sharing of data becomes easier throughout the organization. Fifth point, data security. The data is less secured in traditional file-oriented approach. In the modern database-oriented approach, there is very good data security because only authorized users are allowed to access data by DBMS. Now let us summarize the comparison of traditional file approach and database approach. The first difference was on the basis of data redundancy. The second one on the basis of data integrity. The third one, program data dependency. The fourth one on the basis of data sharing. And the last one was on the basis of data security. Thank you very much.